just like that. It's been 1 year since I started this YouTube channel. The actual date was September 28th, and you can see we are in October. So happy new month, everybody. I'm so excited to basically have done 1 year on YouTube. For me, it's an amazing accomplishment. I have actually managed to also create content for each and every single month, even though there's a month where I didn't put as much content as other months. Either way, I accomplished my one goal and I'm very proud of it. And because of that, I am doing a review episode today. I know I have so many new subscribers. I can't believe how much you've grown in 1 year. I think we're at 157 from the last count I had, and I appreciate all of you for helping me reach 1 year, and for subscribing, for your support, for the views. I really appreciate it. It's very encouraging, and I'm a patient person. I know my content is not necessarily something for everybody, but I know that it's been helpful for those of you who watch it, so I really appreciate it. So I am going to do a review episode today, just to help all the new people catch up, because it might be overwhelming going through my whole channel trying to figure out what I've done and what I haven't done. And for me, it will also help me that be able to keep count of the content I've done and build up on some of the ones I had promised to build up on. So this time my timestamps are all going to be basically links of the content that I'm going to be featuring. I'm going to just use my thumbnails. I think it's been very interesting just seeing how different my hair has become. For a whole year, my hair has really grown. It's a whole journey that maybe one day I'll share. Yes, so I guess let's begin. And so we begin with the very first episode I ever did, and that was Just Get to Know Me, introduction to the channel. And while I was very nervous when I was doing this specific video because it was the very first one. I had overthought the whole process of starting a YouTube channel. I was not sure what I was going to do, what I was going to post, but I decided that at least if I just start, I'll figure it out as we go on. And I can say 1 year later, I think I figured out a formula. But yes, this was the very first video, and I think it's the one with the most views as per the channel. Okay, I do have other videos in the channel that are not necessarily specific to my Sewist shenanigans, but I think this one is probably the most viewed. So now we move on to October, where it's officially when I started creating the content, and I got into a deep dive of explaining what a sewist is. And a sewist is not really a term we use here in Kenya, and it's a term I got from mostly following people in the costuming community, or people who generally sew for fun, more as something they do to relax or to chill, or basically sewing as a hobby. And I just thought that it really defines who I am, because yes, I do sew as a designer professionally, making clothes for other people, but I love to sew even for myself. And I wanted the channel to basically show both worlds, but also to still remain true to who I am. So I decided to basically go into a deep dive about that in my life. And yeah, so that was October. So by November, I was trying to figure out what kind of content I wanted to show you. So I really tried to get a lot of footage, including trying to record myself walking around in the Central Business District, which at the time was restricted. Thank God now with the new government that we have, they have lifted the ban on recording CBD. So maybe I might go back to recording, we'll see. Either way, I was really trying to show basically how I work and trying to show footage of all that. I think for me personally, it was all over the place because I really did struggle trying to refine the process of basically how even to put the footage together. But I think I did get my point across. So if you do get a chance, do watch them, maybe give me feedback. I don't mind repeating some of these things again because I was still trying different things, but yeah, it was very interesting starting to do these videos. In December, I decided to participate in doing Vlogmas, which is a lot harder than it looks because it's shooting a video every single day. I can honestly tell you some videos I was more prepared for than others, but I did do a series on basically what to buy at Sewist because I was thinking about Christmas gifts and basically also just help people know some of the equipment they might not have. Some of the equipment I talked about there, I featured more in other episodes in 2022. But yes, so I did Vlogmas. I hope you do check it out. It was very difficult to do, but I really doubt I'm going to do it the same way this year. So do check that out. In January, I decided to start with something that I thought would be very practical, basically about planning your wardrobe. And I thought it would be a good idea to basically give you information about your skin tones and your body types and coming up with a capsule collection, basically just to help you think through your year. The reason why I thought this was an important episode is because I get a lot of last minute clients ordering for clothes, and I always think it's very practical to plan your wardrobe because you know there will be an event that you will attend at some point of the year, and it's always important to plan for what you will wear in advance to give time to the person making your outfit to actually make it well and make it on time, and then you also don't have to rush through a decision. Well, that was the general idea, and I hope you caught on to that. And yes, this is still a very big hint to my clients to order in advance. In February, I did reviews, and one of the reviews I started with was my own style journey and basically what I have worn through the years and what inspired me to change stuff and things like that. And then I also did a review on the time I was in a fashion reality show and also reviewed a few reality shows that I watch. And then I think that is the longest video I did actually. And then lastly, I did fashion documentaries that you should watch. And yeah, this is the period I started using a lot of timestamps because my videos are very long. So you can actually skip through a lot of the videos because of the timestamps and stuff like that. But yeah, it was very interesting. These videos actually do have a good amount of views, so do check them out and let me know what you think. So by the time it got to March, I'd already found a groove of how the format should be, and from then on I just went the slideshow way. So March I did the corset series, and basically I tried to really break down basics of a corset so people can understand what they are, what is a real corset, what is not a real corset, fact, fiction, vocabulary that's used in the corsetry world, how to care for them and everything. I know it was a bit of information overload for a lot of people, but corsetry is very, very, very broad. I might in the future just break it down further, each individual segment, but I did do 5 weeks of corset series. So if you haven't watched it yet and you're really interested in corsets, I would definitely recommend that you watch that episode. April, I wanted to really talk about fashion business. Of course, I started with the education part. So what you need to know if you want to really be in fashion, because I think there is some glamorous point of view that people have about fashion, and fashion is not about glamour, it's about selling clothes and accessories and stuff like that. Glamour is marketing. So there is that. There is, if you want to study fashion, the things you need to know to prepare for it, because I know some people don't want to study fashion to be in fashion, but I just decided to cover that. And then of course there is the things you should consider when you're starting or setting up your fashion business, and lastly the resources for your fashion business. So I really try to cover as much as possible with the fashion business angle that I could think of at the time, and in case anything else comes up in the future, I will definitely do another video for that. So in May, which I titled the What series, I really had no idea what to call this series. I just called it the What series. But anyway, I wanted to talk more about my experience because I wanted to explain more, build up on what I did in April. So I started with my experience as a fashion student, what it was like learning in Kenya, learning fashion in Kenya and all that. And then I did 2 parts of common questions I do get, that I get asked a lot, especially people who want to get into fashion, I get asked a lot. And then lastly, I talked about the benefits of being employed versus being self-employed, just basically my experience with being self-employed and employed, and also talked about outsourcing your labor versus hiring people and the benefits and the issues with that also. So do check those out, and if you want me to ever build up on any of them, I am very much willing to do that. So in June, just to build up on what I did in April and also May, in June I focused on fashion production, specifically ready to wear. So I touched on starting a ready to wear brand, then research and planning a ready to wear brand, then basically tech packs, the processes of coming up with a ready to wear brand and how to produce the ready to wear brand. And I really did focus on ready to wear because it's one of those areas that is not very familiar with a lot of people because it's expensive and it has a lot of planning and processes, and most people actually just do custom made clothes here. And it's also more practical to do custom made clothes because you don't have inventory, you just make things on order and you don't spend a lot of money. But just in case you want to go the ready to wear route, especially here in Kenya, I do consult for that, and also just watch the video to get more context. In July and August, I decided to do a series on the things you should know if you sew. And some of these things I felt were basics of what people should know if you already are sewing. So of course I started with understanding sewing patterns, and then I talked about mistakes beginners make when you're starting to sew. Then there was the sewing room essentials and organizations, basically things you need in your sewing room. Then the must-have equipment. So this is definitely a build-up on the Vlogmas. And then types, parts of a sewing machine, and then the basics of sewing machine maintenance. So I just thought that this was very important information because a lot of these things people just generally struggle with them, and you learn as you go. It's not usually taught, and I figured that this would be a great resource for anybody who wants to know, especially the maintenance of the machine. That usually can be a very big headache when you're starting, and you can spend a lot of money calling someone to repair something that you could have actually done yourself, or at least know how to take care of basic things so that your machine lasts longer before its next service. So anywho, I just thought it was a very great resource, and it took me 2 months to cover because I also had a lot of work to do, but I think I covered most of it. So do check those out. Then lastly, in September, I touched on fabrics, which was also a build-up on things you should know if you sew, because I'm assuming if you're sewing, you're using fabric to sew. Although I know people sew all manner of things. But I talked about the basics of fabric, types of fabrics, how to tell if fabric is natural, synthetic, or a blend, and also how to care for fabrics. And the main aim for these were also for it to be a resource, especially if you're very particular with the fabric you want to use, and especially if you really, really are thinking about environmental impact of the materials you use to create things, and from how long they last to what is put in them, so that you know what chemicals or whatever processes they go through that would be harmful for the environment. That was part of the reason, but the other part was just to give you general information about fabrics. I will definitely be building up on different types of fabrics in the future, just to talk about specific ones. Yeah. What a year it has been. I'm really, really grateful. I'm really grateful that I've not had any incidents or mishaps as I've recorded the videos that I have presented to you. It's been a lot of work, and I'm just grateful to God for how far He has brought me. So And also I've learned so much. You know, I'm sure you guys think that I know all the things that I post, but actually I do a lot of research. That my content can also be a source, not just for you, but also for me, if I really want to check on a specific thing that I may have done on my YouTube channel. It's easier for me to check my videos than to go through all this. Sometimes I go through so many websites, and some of them have so much information, and I always just look for what is relevant for you guys. So I really hope you appreciate that, and I just appreciate that you take the time to watch the videos, and I hope it's been a good resource. That being said, I am going to take a break this month of October. So technically this is the last video I'm doing for the month. The reason I'm taking a break is because I need to work on my ready-to-wear collection. I know I've mentioned that before, but I feel like taking time to create videos for YouTube has also taken away time for me to work on my collection. And I really want to be done by October so that I'm ready for the Christmas season and Christmas sales. So I am going to record myself working through the process, so it's going to be like a vlog. So in November, I hope you look forward to seeing me with my work process. I'm going to try and record a short clip every day just to see how it's going, and I guess I'll see how that goes. And then I will do a Vlogmas series, maybe not as long as I did last year, but I'll definitely do a Vlogmas series. So I just ask you to bear with me, and it's also a good opportunity to catch up with the videos now that I've created this. This is basically one of the reasons why I was doing this review, so that you have time to catch up on episodes you have not managed to. I know some of my videos can be very long, and maybe you haven't gotten a chance to watch it all. So please do watch that. I will still post a few clips here and there on maybe my YouTube shorts or Instagram. I post there a lot as well. So I am not going to completely abandon you, but I really do need to focus on my collection, get it done, because what happens usually towards the end of the year, at least here in Kenya, is that it can get pretty busy, and I don't know how I'll be able to balance everything. The content that I'm going to do in November and December will not need me to do so many slides like I have done the whole year through. So I think the preparation might not be as heavy as the preparation has been for these others, but I always say that I'm one of those people who always goes a bit extra, so you never know. So thank you so much, and I guess I'll see you in a month. Bye.